All right, Damien, this is the first Learn by Doing. Damien builds a web app in which you will be learning by doing and building a web app. That's you graduated from better teaching and you've moved on to better
Learn by doing.
application, I guess. um,
Fair enough.
but yeah, so for those that are not familiar with what we're doing here, Damien's going to be building a website, which you have. Like, let me just say, I'm impressed actually, because this
Don't
is
don't be.
there's a lot here, and it's
There
more
is.
than what I would already do. Like, my website doesn't have this. My website is just a hot mess all over the place. But walk me through what you've created here.
Okay. I'm not gonna talk about the tool because it's just something I found randomly on the internet.
Yep.
But basically, I wanted to have a homepage that could both display, both be a portfolio piece as well as host a portfolio itself. So here will be a portfolio piece with a live stream of my dog and then my cat just walked into the room, as well as some images of my dog and just an overall like introduction to the dog, just because I think it's funny more so than anything else. It's
Hey,
going to have a live stream feature, which is not going to be set as a like its own page. I'm just gonna send that to wherever I'm going to be hosting the live stream at,
okay.
just to make it easier. And then it'll have like my dogs about me section. I know there's more here, but I'm probably just going to take all of this and just make it into one page,
Mm.
um, as well as my portfolio for like web applications and stuff that we build. Sorry, my cat is being weird. Um, which is just going to kind of be an offshoot of this main website with a couple of different projects so that I can have portfolio pieces that are
Mm.
easily accessible.
Did it give you this layout and you just like populated it, or have you thought about like certain projects and things like that all the way through?
Yeah, I have certain projects that I want to create still,
Okay.
and like certain projects that I want to do. But I don't know enough to try them yet, so they're just kind of sitting on a post-it note on my other screen.
At least they sit somewhere. Your cat is like
So, not
just
right now,
decided that this is this is the
bro.
cat
It's
stream
just
now.
yeah, it's the cat stream, and on top of that, like she's just knocking over my microphone because she's not getting attention.
Cat's like, you don't need that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this is one. This is way more than I thought. I thought it was just gonna be like a single page, like throw an app up and call it
But
a day.
again, we can just do this.
Oh
This is
yeah,
the
no,
only
no,
thing
no.
I'm really worried about.
I don't think we're getting all of this done today. We've got like
I don't
two
think we're.
hours.
I don't even think we're getting this done today.
No, no, no. I think we might get the ugly version of this done today.
Okay,
Um,
that's
if
perfectly
if
fine.
if that, because I'm gonna throw a lot of things at you. One of the things that you mentioned wanting to do was go into using Django, and I'm actually interested in why you chose Django over the other options.
Well, choosing it was kind of the choice of like, oh, I know that. I don't
I've
like.
heard
I know
those
of
words
it.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, more so than it was like, I like Django. Django is great. It was just like, oh, I've heard someone mention Django a multitude of times to the point where I'm like, oh, it must be the thing that everyone uses, so I should use it. It's kind of like when you hear website design and you hear like Node.js. I'm like, oh yeah, I chose Node.js for my first like language outside of JavaScript because so many people talked about it.
Yeah. So there, I mean, in the Python world, there are, we'll say, three asterisk. Um, Django is definitely one of those three. There's also Fast API and Flask. Flask, I think, is if you go by surveys from places, then Flask is still the most popular. But I think Flask is the most popular because Flask is probably the fastest to get something off the ground. But it also comes with the least amount of batteries installed. So it's like, assume that you have nothing, but we get you to a blank page really quickly. And then from there, if you want to add things, you're going to be responsible for adding them almost in their entirety. Where Django is all batteries included, or almost all batteries included. There's a lot that comes with Django. Um, I think that one of the nice things about Django is that when you have things like maintenance that you got to think about, or you get, or not even maintenance, but like administration or database connections and things like that, that's built into Django. For the most part, that is built into Django. You won't have to do a ton of configuration. You're mostly going to be just saying, hey, create, we'll do it in here if, if Django's the thing that we stick with, which is just like create super user, run Django, then go to localhost 8000/admin, and then log in with your super user. And then now you have this database, like kind of close, similar to like PHP MyAdmin, that you can just start adding information to, that now when you build your website, when you go and find that, call that information, it's like there for you. You don't have to do too much. And then we could also talk about like Wagtail and all that stuff. For what you're doing, I don't have a preference, to be honest. I think that Django's fine. No one got fired for picking Django. In fact, in 2 weeks, I'll be going, 2.5 weeks, I'll be going to a Django conference. I'll be going to DjangoCon US.
Nice.
So you're not going to get any flack from me on choosing Django. I just wanted to make sure that there were, like, yes, you've heard of that one. There are some other ones. Someone might say, like, oh, hey, you should use this because this is easier. And
I feel like easier is kind of like subjective. Like, when you don't know what you're doing, anything is going to be harder or easier. So,
well, Kojo's asking, is this the J compares Django, Flask, and Fast API episode we've been waiting for? No, it's not. I don't have an opinion. You use whatever you want to use. You're not going to get in trouble by me if you went, I chose Fast API because Fast API has async. Django has async now. Don't use Flask, use Quart. Quart is basically async Flask. Everybody will have an opinion on why you should choose one versus the other. I tend to lean Fast API for most of the things that I build, and I don't really have a reason why. It's just, for some reason, I've been building a lot with Fast API. I personally don't use Django for a lot of things because I just don't build a lot of things that I think require the complexity that Django, I don't think needs. I think you can build very simple sites with Django. I think that I reach for Django when I have a lot of moving parts and I want better administration of those parts. That's when I'm like, Django is my jam. And honestly, I don't have a reason why I've kind of stopped using Flask. I use Flask for, like, I got to build this dummy website like in 5 minutes and I'm done with it. But I really can't be bothered with building all of the batteries that don't come included with it. And I think that's probably why I go to Fast APIs. I feel like I can get off the ground running faster with Fast API, but I feel like there are maybe some better batteries or some better, like, setup of some of those things where it's a good middle ground between the two. But I think if I have any layer of complexity, I am like, nah, let's just build this Django app and call it a day. I think the big question that I will have is, do we look at Wagtail, which is, we'll see. Let's get your homepage up and running, because whether or not we use Wagtail, I don't think is going to matter in terms of getting your homepage off the ground. So I think I sent you a link. That link was to the Django Girls tutorial.
yes, I have it up.
You want to go ahead and throw that up on the screen, and I'll share a link to the same Django Girls tutorial. Like, not to, like, no shade, no lemonade to any other tutorial, but, like, I learned Django with the Django Girls tutorial. Like, I've used the regular tutorial as well. The Django Girls tutorial, in my opinion, is solid. And it's vetted because it's used by so many Django Girls workshops that happen all over the world. So we're gonna just run through this. We're gonna skip a couple of things. Kojo's asking, what is Damien building? This is gonna be basically a portfolio site, Kojo. There's a couple of pieces involved, so there's some projects like project pages that are very much like, let me talk about this project page. This is why I built it. This is the stack that it's using, I'm guessing. Here's where you can go check it out. The more fun thing that you hinted at with, Damien, was the dog, like, here's the dog Instagram page roughly,
Yeah.
for lack of a better phrase, which I like as a project. If I remember correctly, and Kojo is asking some of these questions because Kojo is heavily involved in the Django ecosystem.
Ah,
If I remember correctly, isn't Instagram built with Django? Isn't like there are parts of Instagram that are built with Django? I want to say it is. I could be wrong. It could be some other social network, but if I do remember correctly, there were a lot of Django pieces that are a part of Instagram. And in fact, Instagram did like some major like Python 2 to 3 migration stuff that is pretty like, it's like a big deal back when the 2 to 3 migration battles were happening. So okay, all that to say, we are going to skip a couple of these things, Instagram and Pinterest both. So as you can see, this is what the Django Girls tutorial will build. We're gonna follow along, and then we're gonna get to a point where we're gonna say like we're no longer doing exactly what they're doing. We're gonna do some different things. So we're gonna skip about how the internet works. We're gonna skip some of the installation bits. If I remember correctly, you do have Python installed, correct?
yes.
Also, you're using Windows, so I will say things wrong
It's okay.
a lot. I just have to remember it.
I bounce back and forth, so
Yeah.
if you say command, I'll understand.
Okay, cool. So we can skip the like, how is Python installed? We can skip the like how the internet works. You've got a code editor that you're using, so you're good here.
Yeah, I have VS Code.
So let's start with the first thing of that. Are we in the project that you wanna be in? Like, this is gonna be your folder.
I need to start a new one.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably you're gonna need more than just a file. You're gonna need like a whole directory dedicated to this. And that's why I was like, I would just create a new workspace, possibly, which you can just close.
Just close this out.
Yeah, right there, and then create a new folder. Let's call this whatever you want to call this. It could be Django site or whatever you want to call it.
We're just throwing the desktop for the best.
New folder on the desktop always works, especially when you can hide those folders. So the people who will get very upset with you for putting them on the desktop won't even know that's on the desktop.
People get upset about that?
What? It's the internet. We lost 2 users just when you said, I'll put it on the desktop real quick. That's fine.
You should understand that, I'm new. I'm just new. I don't know what's going on.
I don't think it'll be a problem calling it Django, but we might not want to call it Django. Just as we start importing things, it might get confusing. I would just call it like your website. But that, I mean, like I said, not the end of the world. I think we're going to actually do some stuff inside of it that will help. But portfolio website works. Baki's website, whatever you want to call it. Sure, I like it. You probably gotta.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. It's like, I don't know where that is now. I would again, just there you go. There we go. All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a virtual environment. And this is going to be an environment that all of our Python packages and things live in. You've probably seen me build it a couple of times. This,
And you built it?
yeah, I do it quickly because it's a thing that anytime you are starting a new project, I would highly recommend that you do. Um, and there are a few reasons. To me, the biggest reason is just version control. You might have some projects. For instance, one of the projects that I've worked on for years, at one point was I had to pin like a particular like documentation package to a version because it was breaking like my test suite. So I had to like pin to a specific version where other projects could use more recent versions. So the way that we do this is we're going to open up the terminal wherever this is in your VS Code window. Usually it hangs out at the bottom or it'll hang out on the side. There we go. Now, this is the one where I have to think about what I'm doing. Because you're using PowerShell, so it would seem, and not WSL, which I would also just argue, WSL is kind of nice, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter.
I think you can choose. Yeah, I think you can choose. I have git bash command prompt and JS debug terminal.
I think you have to download. I think it's like an app that you have to get. Again, I don't know. PowerShell's fine.
Okay.
So the way we're going to do this, we're going to do Python-M or is it Python? I want to say you can just type. We'll just do Python-V. I should tell people spaces. Space capital V. There we go. Okay, cool.
3.24.
All right, so we can just call Python and it'll work. Cool. All right, so you're gonna do Python-M, lowercase m, by the way, and also you misspelled Python. Python. You misspelled Python.
No, I'm still doing it again. This is impressive.
That's okay. All right, Kojo, we'll see you later. Kojo said good luck, Damien. You can't see the chat, which is...
I pulled it up.
Okay, cool. Sweet. All right, so you can do Python-M space VENV, Victor Echo November Victor. And then you got to give it a folder name. You're right, NV. Yep. And then we got to give our folder. And usually we just put it in a .venv file. No, you're already in that folder, so you don't have to call that folder again. So just space .venv.
Space dot.
Yep. And then you hit enter. And it's basically saying like, okay, I'm creating this local instance for Python to work out of. I had you do that. VS Code actually has a way that you can do this as well. But I wanted to make sure that you know how to do it because one, you may not always have VS Code at your disposal. And two, this is like, I can't emphasize this enough. The number of times you will write that in your career are countless. Like I can't quantify it. I've probably done it 3 times this week. So let's jump in and let's activate this environment by doing, this is where my limit on this is going to mess me up. Try .venv /bin /activate dot. Oh, good point. Faces are indeed blocking the terminal. See, this is. I mean, it's going to get in the way no matter where we go.
Hold on. No. I can just move this over. God.
I am going to try to move us to the top right corner. I don't feel like there's going to be too many things up there. Thank you for bringing that up though, because we would have just kept on going. So thank you, John. All right. And I want to say this is .exe for. I mean, you can try to tab and see if it'll autocomplete.
It's an autocomplete. I don't think I have one of those filters.
Just try .exe then. See what happens. Did not work. All right. This is where like I'm not gonna fight it. I'm just gonna Google search it.
Should I get a linter while we're doing that?
If you have a Python linter, it would be helpful, but
have one, but I'll grab one.
Python
Any good ones that I should get?
All the Python versions, activation. All right, so you're gonna do .venv/scripts/activate.exe, and activate is capitalized, or sorry, activate.ps1 since you're in PowerShell. Yeah, Chris. Chris was telling us it was .bat, but scripts sc. Yep. Yeah, Chris in the chat was saying you're using this, but we're using PowerShell for this. Again, we'll talk about down the road. I would definitely consider using WSL or some of those things, and then I think you can use BAT but .ps1. The second best of the PlayStations.
Yeah, second best of PlayStation.
Okay, what error are we getting here?
Is activate completely capitalized?
Running scripts is disabled on this system.
What?
Well, okay.
This is my system.
Yeah. My guess is that this is like hold on. Virtual environments, PS1, Windows.
I guess I'm gonna grab WSL while we're doing this to make it easier.
Hey Jen, you're gonna be on a stream with Jen in a little bit. Let's see. I get this error. Okay, so you gotta do this thing really quick, which is set. I'm just gonna copy it. Set execution policy unrestricted -force. That feels just wrong. Scope process is mentioned above in your virtual environment. There's another approach, but it's more unsafe. So don't do the forced one because forced is bad. Okay, I'm gonna put this in our Zoom chat.
So should I just run this in WSL instead?
I mean, if WSL is there, then don't let me stop you.
It, so I'm just gonna refresh VS Code. And... Can you get off my computer? Thank you.
Yeah. Did you install it on your system itself as well? Again, it might be installed on the system itself already. I don't know, but I figured it would show up automatically as an option.
It says it's on my system when I type it in, unless.
I just noticed when you clicked on the thing, it wasn't showing WSL as an option.
Oh, my cat's on my keyboard. Can you please? Jesus Christ.
By the way, you can run that command from the Zoom window and it should work from there.
Okay.
The thing is the security.
Run it in PowerShell?
Yeah. The security focus of this is it has to be ran anytime you open up a new PowerShell instance.
That seems weird.
Yeah, it is very much. I'm guessing this is just a PowerShell thing. I have no clue because I haven't used PowerShell in probably 5 years. Actually, probably in about 7 or 8 years. So, yeah. And the last time I was doing that, I was doing like SharePoint admin stuff. So I'd rather not think about those days ever again. All right, so now run that command again. V and vscripts activate.ps1. Boom. There we go. So now we are in our virtual environment. Now the next thing that we need to do is we need to install Django, which is pretty sure if you go to Django installation, it's going to tell you exactly what you need to do from there. But I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with pip install schmango. Have we talked about pip in this yet?
To my knowledge, maybe we have, but maybe I just don't remember.
I was gonna say, do you know what pip is? No, don't do this. You've already done this part. You've already done the make directory, Django girls, go into that project, create a virtual environment. Just keep going. Yep, see Windows, you gotta go down and do that. They're doing that from the command line. Keep going, scroll down. Keep going. Oh, hey, look, there's that execution policy change that we needed. What remote sign? That's wild. All right, this is what you need right here. So they're going to tell you to pip install upgrade pip because pip always needs to be upgraded.
And I remember pip from using Node.
Really? They talk about pip in Node?
They don't talk about it, but I remember having to type pip.
That's weird. Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I don't know if it was right, but
pip is basically Python's version of npm. So when you have to do like npm install, yada yada yada, here you just do pip install. Every language has a package manager, or several.
So pip is just Python's package manager.
Yeah.
Maybe I did pip because I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Okay. Yep. This will work. This will install the latest version of pip. Again, this is like just one of those things that like pip almost always has an upgrade, so it doesn't hurt to give it a quick little pip install. What is this?
I'm just opening up my command prompt so I can install W.
Oh, that was like terrifying. I was like, wait a minute. Like pip is not supposed to open up the command line. That's dangerous. All right, so next you need to install Django. They're doing it that way. Okay, we're not going to do it the way that they're doing it. I understand why they're doing it. Oops, I think I like messed up my screen here. We're not going to do that. We're just going to pip install Django. Just pip install Django. Okay. And yeah, you can either just do pip install Django or you can do python-n pip install Django. It's almost better to always do python-n pip install Django because you can have multiple versions of pip on your computer, and if the namespace is all weird like it often is with Jen's computer, then you wind up installing pip in like some other place. And you just pip install Django. You don't have to do the version numbers or anything like that. Also, I'm really confused on why they capitalized Django, but like I don't think that matters either.
Just in case. Knowing my luck.
Yep, so it's doing Django things. Now the Django things are done. Django has now been installed in your environment. And you can move. I keep wanting to scroll for you, my guy. So let's go to your first Django project. Jen saying my computer isn't happy with me 90% of the time. This is actual factual. As we were on a call earlier and Jen's computer was being difficult as we were terraforming. So we will just say, what else is new? Um, all right, so Django uses this thing called Django admin. Django admin is basically like this script that gives you like a set of commands. Don't think of it as a CLI. Well, I mean, it is a CLI, but it is the way that you tell, hey Django, I need you to do things. And there are a couple of things that you're going to do at the beginning almost every time you create a new Django project. The first one is start project, and you need to give your project a name. So this, I mean, again, kind of like how naming is hard across the board. That's up to you to whatever you want to call the project name. They use my site as an example here. So maybe Baki site or portfolio project or whatever. But you're going to basically run that command, Django admin.exe, because again, it is a command that you just run. And then start project my site.
Are you mad that I'm not giving you attention, little cat?
I'm actually really confused that it's
I'm assuming it's not.
Excel like, or an executable file. Like that is. Oh, you gotta add a dot at the end too. It's not gonna put it in your local folder. It's gonna put it inside of the folder. I keep trying to grab over. Yeah, there you go. So it wants you to have a dot at the end after the name of your project site. Remember, this folder is going inside of your existing folder. So you're gonna have port site. Also,
so I'm just naming my site. Got it.
Yeah, and Python does care about casing in terms of as you're calling things around the board. So as long as you're consistent with your capitalization, but I would always suggest lowercase in this case. Yeah, that should do it. It did it. All right, so now if you look in your Explorer window in VS Code, you should see my site. You should see manage.py. Go ahead, open up my site too, because there's going to be some things in there. Yeah, there we go. So you have your initializer, which we talked about dunder init a couple of streams ago. Do you remember what dunder init does?
I remember dunder. Initialization, I'm assuming init just allows Python's use.
Kind of. So when you create a class and you call dunder init, that is the code that gets ran as it is initializing that project. Here, if you go into dunder, just click on dunder init.py. None of this stuff is like, I mean, worst case, we mess it up and we just run create site again. So perfect. It's empty. What dunder init does in a folder is it makes it so that all of the Python files within the folder are now accessible to Python. So when you're building a project and you say from settings, import this thing, you can't do that across the namespace if that folder or the folder above it doesn't have an init.py. And I'd say the folder above it because I do believe that now you don't have to put dunder init in all the folders, in all of like the child folders. I think people still do, but I'm almost certain that it's not required to do that. I if I remember correctly, I remember like reading that while we were on stream once. Again, people don't come after me if I'm wrong with that. Just tell me I'm wrong. Just be like, that's not true. You still need to. I don't know. I tend to always put it in a new folder. I just want to make sure that I'm correct. All right. So now that you've done that, does Pi have to be in every directory application? There's a difference between the root directory. Okay, I don't know what they're doing. They're doing some other stuff there. It's not important. All right, so yep. So you've gotten all of these things here. They're in a different order. Oh, and they even break down what's going on with each of them. Manage.py does management stuff. You'll use manage.py a lot. Settings.py is basically just your settings configuration. URLs will have like the list of URLs that you want to expose or make available, and their paths. So what you'll do is you'll basically say like, hey, index, you correspond to this code here. So it points to it for you. So as they're suggesting, let's go into settings.py and let's make some changes. And we see there's a lot of code here. We've exposed your secret key. I apologize for exposing your secret key.
Oh no.
Don't publish this on the web. And also what we'll do is we'll set this up to load from an environment variable or to be auto-generated. A lot of people actually do that now, where like their secret key is just like auto-generated every time. So like they don't know it, you don't know it, no one knows it. That's always good. Let's scroll up a little bit. I wanted to see what they include in here. Oh, that's it.
Oh, for me.
There's not much.
Yeah.
No. You're good. You're good. Okay, yeah. In here. So yeah, as you can see, we have some default installed applications. We have some middleware, which I have been asked a couple of times, what is middleware? I understand what it does. I am not the person to explain what it is. I would just Google what is middleware and then get a good answer on that. Effectively, middleware are some of the things that are going to be happening once like your page is called. You have to inject this middleware into it that allows you to do certain things like authentication, like handling messages, like how to do your CSRF control. You don't have to worry too much about middleware for what you're doing. Okay. But it's a thing that if your career path follows any sniff of mine, you will be asked about what middleware is at least more than once. Okay, and then you have some context processors, which are just saying like, hey, here's how here's where the context is for debugging and requests and auth and messaging. Again, a lot of this stuff you won't touch. You don't have to touch it. It's perfectly fine. You see there's a database in here. Again, by default, it gives you a database. That's kind of important. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Then you have some auth validators. Don't worry about that. Okay, so language, time zone. If you want to change your time zone to be the time zone that you are in, which I believe, again, I keep trying to click your screen. I believe your time zone is like America Phoenix, since you specifically, not to dox you too hard, but you live in Phoenix.
Yep. And they don't change their time zone at all.
And that's why it's important that you put America Phoenix and not like America Los Angeles or something like that, because it should be smart enough to be updated with things.
Is it just America Phoenix?
I'm trying to find the list.
Oh, sorry.
Because I don't have or if you want to click that link that says Wikipedia's list of time zones, I could just also just go to Wikipedia and then type in list of time zones.
I'm trying to see Wikipedia's list of time zones and not just special.
List of time zones by country.
Oh, on Janko Girls, okay.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Perfect. And we're looking for America. I would just type in, see if you could link to America Phoenix. Creston? What? Oh yeah, America Phoenix. Cool. Most areas are Creston, British Columbia. Okay, yeah, just do you can do America /Phoenix and it should work. That's yeah. I don't
You're,
I don't know why the time zone format is like that. I prefer the UTC offset just because it's easier.
I thought it was going to be that, but
Yeah. Use time zone true. Use internationalization true. Language is English, US variant of English. That's all correct. Your static URL is just the static folder, which is also correct. Um, Default autofield is a big autofield. Again, don't worry too much about that. A lot of this stuff you don't change because, as I mentioned before, the beauty of using Django is Django configures a lot of this stuff for you. If you were doing Flask or Fast API, you would either have to import all the middleware and stuff, or you'd have to configure it for yourself. All right, so now let's go to URLs. I just wanna see what's in each of these. So you see here we have this pattern here called admin, which says like, hey, we have these admin site URLs. Again, we will get back to the Django Girls thing in a second. We don't need to go into Whiskey or ASCII. You're gonna call those when you run it, and then now let's scroll down on the Django Girls site. Let's see what they want us to do next. Okay. So what they're saying is they have this static root. Oh wow, look, German, nice. So you have my site settings, static root. Let's go back to settings. Let's create this base directory. What that's going to tell us is that's going to tell Django that like, hey, when you call, like when you're looking for static files, you're going to look for this static folder. And that'll be where we put like static images and things like that. Static URL, I love that they don't have the front slash here. So I'm wondering if that was a decision that was made. I'm pretty sure the front slash, I don't think it's required, but I think for what you're trying to do, I think it is required. Because that's going to tell it to go to the root. Yeah, base dir is your base directory, and then the static folder inside of your base directory, all lowercase. So debug is true. They've got the allowed host thing going on here. That's all fine. Let's not mess with that yet, because we're not gonna deploy this probably until it's a little bit further down the road. Key. Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll talk about how to do the secret key thing probably in another one. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Oh yeah. Here we go. So first we're going to create a random secret key, and they have like these utils get random secret key. I've seen people put this command in to where the secret key equals from Django core management utils import get random secret key and just call it like that. We can do that now if you want. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay, let's do it, I guess. Let's just do it in the command line?
Nope. Let's do it straight into your settings.py. So at the top, the very, very top, the tippy top. Okay, from where you see from pathlib, import path. Underneath that, go from django.core.management.utils, import get random secret key.
Oh, interesting. Okay. How did you, besides repetition, how did you know that is where this
that's what Django Girls said to do. And again, like you said, from repetition. Again, I've seen other ones where like you use like a UUID thing and you just generate a random string. I've seen some where like, I think so. If I remember correctly, and again, I don't do enough Django on a daily basis. Someone who does Django things on a daily basis, you can always correct me in this chat. That secret key has some level of you don't need the colon at the end. Just get rid of the colon. I don't understand why there's a colon. Oh, that's because they're calling it from the command line, not
Command
from
line.
the
Yeah,
builder. Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
when
yeah.
you
You
said,
don't need
"Oh,
that.
just put it
You're good there.
underneath," I was like,
Yeah.
"How
And
did
then
you know that?"
where you see secret key there down
Here.
yep. You're gonna replace that whole line with
With this.
get random secret key.
Just right.
Yeah. Now, long term, once this is deployed, you do want to have a stable secret key because your secret key can, I believe, have some link to like session stuff. That may also just be your CSRF token. Actually, I think that is your CSRF token. So like if you're like randomly swapping tokens or keys, then you get some authentication errors down the road. You put that outside of single quotes because this is a function that we're calling. We talked about functions, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I think the bad site talked about functions. We all talked about the bad site. The bad site that you'll be learning from in like an hour.
Yeah, so I'm learning to that bad side soon.
The bad site hurt us. Okay, so from here, let's scroll down a little bit. Okay, so perfect. I see what they're saying now. So they did something similar here where you see like secret key OS get in secret. What I often see is something like that where you'll see os.getEnv, which is like get an environment variable, and then you will have a stable secret key. And then what you'll do is if you'll set get random secret key as the default if from doing a thing. So you'll basically say like, oh hey, get this key that has been hard coded and set, and if for some reason that doesn't exist, just generate one on the fly. But again, for what you're doing right now, we can just always generate one on the fly. It's not going to break anything. We're not going to have any problems.
Are you wearing a Docker shirt?
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the whale and I was just like, I know that damn whale.
Shirt. I'm wearing a Docker community leader shirt because apparently I'm a Docker community leader. Or I just happen to know a Docker community leader who I had some extra shirts. Do you want one?
I'm just gonna assume you're a Docker community leader.
I'd go to a Docker meetup. Why not? I like Docker. Docker's fine. I like Docker Compose more than I like Docker, but I like both of them more than I like Kubernetes.
What? Kubernetes is it's Kate's.
Mm-hmm. Kate knows what Kate did. I have a good friend named Kate, so that just makes me laugh. All right, so let's go down to the database thing. As they're saying here, we're using SQL. They're using SQLite. We'll use SQLite. Okay. Eventually, if we want to pay for something, we'll use Postgres or something like that. Maybe I'll convince you to use. Oh, this is brought to you by Ivan. They don't know that it's brought to you by Ivan, but it is. Maybe one day we'll get you to use an Ivan database, and then we'll like call it even. All right, so you've already got this stuff is already set up. Perfect. So we don't need to do anything there. We do need to migrate our database. We need to create the database. So let's do that now. Oh, sorry. Inside of your terminal, you're going to do Python manage.py migrate. Inside of the command line here. Yep.
Oh.
And what we should see
migrate?
What we should see is a database get created.
/ migrate, not just migrate.
No, it's just space migrate. All right. Boom. Okay. And now we see this DB SQLite 3 get created, which is perfect. That's what we want. So that's our database. And if something ever messes up the database, we just delete that database and we hit migrate again, and then we just keep it moving. SQLite is a very good little small database that can exist just as a little file right there. Love it. You're not going to commit that to source code. That's going to be ignored when you decide to do Git and GitHub things. All right, so let's scroll down. See what we got. They want to start the website. They're just starting the web server, so we're not doing any admin stuff. All right, cool. That's fine. Let's run it. So Python manage.py run server.
Okay, down here. I was like, where are you seeing this at? I'm realizing I'm looking here, which is stuff that's already done. So that's all me. Hey, cat, can you stop? I'm already bad enough at typing.
We can see your cat's tail behind you, just like, I'm gonna cause trouble.
The worst part is it's not even behind me. It's in my face.
Right. Oh, sorry. We see the shadow of the tail.
Yeah.
It's just like.
It's just.
It's like run server. Run server. Oh, there you go. Did you mean run server?
That's pretty cool.
I forgot how they do that. I know it's like a thing now that exists. All right, so let's open up your localhost 8000 and see what we get in the web browser.
Sorry, I'm having to like literally move around this damn cat.
You just like push this cat. All of a sudden we just hear like a cat like shrill. Colon 8000. Localhost colon 8000. Yeah. And I can't remember if it's smart enough to do it. Okay, nope, it is cool. So boom. Hey, you installed Django. You did Django things. Good job.
Oh, there's a little rocket.
Yep. So you have successfully deployed Django. That is the thing that you have done now. And I love how they have you have some tutorials you can do, some documentation, community. We're gonna stick with the Django Girls app tutorial because it's got a lot.
What's the best one?
I mean, it's just the one that I know it's sparked so many people's careers. All right, so we've done the thing now. So let's scroll down. Keep going. Oh yeah, hey, you've done that. Good job. Command window can only run one thing at a time. That's fine. Yep. Cool. All right, so now let's go to. They want you to do Django models. Interesting. Let's skip Django models and let's go straight to Django URLs. Because I wanna. Perfect. So what is a URL? How do URLs work in Django? Let's go. We've already gone to mysite.urls. We're there. So you see these URL patterns and it's like, hey, it's there. It's doing URL things. So adding your first Django URL. So we went to 8000. We went to that list. Right. We want to keep URLs clean. So we'll import URLs from our sites. Okay. So do you see where it has something here that says like admin.site.url? Where it has that listed here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I meant in your code, but yeah, it's there too. So what you're going to want to do is something similar. Like when you see here, they have like path include blog.urls. We're going to do things similar to that.
Okay, that's the scheme that we're going to be using.
Yeah. Now, what I'm interested in is they don't have like a standard views yet. Scroll down in the tutorial.
That's it. I mean, there's documentation here, but
your console is showing an error. That's for useful. No attribute post list. Okay.
It's just because I haven't finished typing this in the sim.
Okay.
Like this, the URL displacer.
Yeah, so this is what a URL config looks like when you are in an actual site. We haven't done this part yet. So let's go back to the Django Girls tutorial. And we need to do the next step.
Okay.
Oh, nope. Remove that line that you have, the empty path call here. And let's go back to Django models, because I think they're going to want you to create. We've created our site, or we've created our project. But the way that Django works is Django operates in a realm of like, you have your overall project, and then inside of that project you have sites. Now sites can be like blog and store and homepage or whatever. And a lot of that information can be similar, but often you have things like models, which will define, you know, as they're talking about here, you know, has some actions like a color or age. You remember the class that the stream that we did on like classes and like their attributes and stuff. Basically, when we create these models, we're creating a class similar to those things. And those classes are confined to their particular site. So what we have to do now is we've done start project, and I think the next one is like, it's either create site or create app. So like, let's scroll down. They're probably going to tell you start app. Yep. So there we go. So I called it a site because I'm familiar with calling them sites. They call them apps. So yeah, we're going to run that command, Python manage.py start app, and then whatever we want to call the app. I would just, for right now, since you're wanting to do just your home, like this is like the Baki stream side. So maybe you have a model called, or sorry, an app called Baki. So you're gonna have to hit control break. That's weird. Control break is the thing that you press, not control C. I guess control C would copy. So yeah, control break, I guess. I don't know where break is on the keyboard. Because that is a thing that we don't have in Macland, and I've forgotten all my Windows things.
Well, control break is either.
If I remember correctly, is it up near print screen?
I have insert.
No.
So Google it fast. Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Did you find it?
Yeah.
I'm over here like, let me pull up a Windows key, like a picture of a Windows keyboard.
I just did it, but I don't think I did. It says it's control function B. It's for Lenovo ThinkPads, apparently.
You don't have a break key on your...
No, I don't have a break key on my keyboard that I know of.
Wow, what? Okay. Windows keyboard.
So I have a standard Windows keyboard. I have one of the ones that go from Windows to Mac.
Is there a pause button?
There's an end button.
Try control function B if you have a function key.
I tried that. It said, go fuck yourself.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, folks, this is why you use a Mac. I'm just saying. Okay.
It's because my keyboard is configured for both Mac and Windows.
Yeah. Windows pause break opens up. Try using control. Oh, generally just use control C. Try control C, I guess. Okay, control C works. Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. Cool.
That That seems ridiculous, but sounds good.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. So yeah, now we're gonna do that Python manage.py start app blog. I'm kind of actually enjoying the fact that we're doing Windows things because there is like this level of I'm not too familiar with what we're doing on like how do you do this on a Windows machine? The world may never know. All right. Oh, I told you to put blog. I didn't mean to tell you to put blog. I think we're gonna call it like Baki. I mean, if you want to write a blog, like cool,
I
but
don't.
you're like blogs.
Gotta delete that.
What year is it? Yeah, just call it Baki, and this will just be all the pages that are associated with the Baki. So remember, casing matters.
Casing matters.
Yeah. Okay, so now when you go into that Baki folder, you should see a couple of new items created. Yep, you're gonna see migrations. Yep, you see a lot of these things that exist. Let's start in. Okay, well they're just showing you a bunch of stuff in there. Yeah, it's creating things. They want you to go into the settings. Yep, you need to go into the settings. It's in my site. My site settings.py.
Oh, my site settings. Okay.
Yep. So then we had installed apps. Scroll down. Or up. There we go. And at the bottom, you're going to add Baki. And it is important that you put them at the bottom because order matters and some of these things need to be loaded in before you get to your user applications. So yeah, make sure you do that. Same with middleware too. I think the order is important. Like if you're adding middleware, any custom stuff that you add needs to be added at the bottom. All right, so now they're telling you to create a model. We don't need to create a model because right now we're not doing anything with that model. So don't worry about creating a model. Scroll down. Keep going. Yeah, we don't need to do the migration stuff yet. Keep going. It wants
there.
Okay, it wants you to go to Django admin. We're going to skip Django admin for now because we don't have any data to administrate. So now we can go to Django admin because I just hope they're going to talk about eventually talking about these URLs. That's how you would register, create a super user, do a thing. Keep going. Nothing there. Okay, cool. Deploying. That's interesting. They want you to deploy already because there's nothing in the project. This is a primer on Git. That's cool. Let's go to Django URLs. All right. So what is a URL? How do URLs work? Or sorry, not URLs, views. Views, because we need to create a view. Django views time to create. Left-hand side. Oh, people can see my mouse, so they like see the mouse like hovering over it. Like, why is it not working? All right, so now that we're looking at views, what we have are so we see from Django shortcuts import render. That's fine. There should be a views.py and Baki. Yep. Django import render. Cool. So we're gonna create a new request.
Okay. Is this request? I'm assuming.
Yep, you're gonna do that entire line because we're gonna talk about what that line is doing. So whenever you create a function, that's basically going to tell you like, hey, this function called post list here, it takes a request. That request is like the user's request to go to this page. So that request is going to have a bunch of information in it. And when it says return render, what that's going to do is it's going to render a template based on the path that it is given. So this is like, here it's saying, blog post list, not whatever the template name is. And then any of the like context mapping stuff, we don't need to worry about the context mapping stuff. That can just be empty for now. And it looks like it is required. So you still have to provide an empty context. So let's go, and so we're gonna render request.
No, I could do that.
Oh, I mean, like it says here, yeah, request.
Sorry, I didn't know that I could full screen my
Oh, you're fine.
VS Code like it was a.
You're fine.
Then we just do Baki /
We haven't created a template yet. We'll get to creating a template in just a second.
So just keep Baki / or should we just create a
Just like
template?
just let's call it like home. There you go. I like it. Home.html. By the way, you probably want to call that def post list. Let's just call it def home.
Just to match.
Yeah, that's what we're doing with it. So why not? And then you need to provide that empty context. Nope, inside of the parentheses. There you go. All right. So as they mentioned, like, hey, when I try to run this, it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Well, because we haven't defined the template. So next we're going to define the template. Sure, we can do that. Whoa, where'd it go? Yeah, template does not exist error. Go back to Django URLs because they've already defined their URL route here. Scroll down. Your first Django URL. So you see how they have like path, root, include, blog.urls. So you're going to do the same thing, except it's going to be Baki.urls here. So what this is doing is this is saying at the path empty string, which is at your root. Now we're going to include blog.urls. And blog.urls or Baki.urls. Baki.urls is going to be basically a version of this, but living specifically inside of the Baki project. And that allows you to keep this main path clean. You're not doing everything in the main path. You're doing everything in the project at the project level. So we're going to create, to my knowledge, we're going to create an empty file called urls.py inside of Baki.
Create new file. What?
Yep, new file. Baki or urls.py. And then we're going to, from dot import views, which we have that dunder init in there, which allows us to say dot is going to be like from this local folder, load import views. So that's going to load views.py from this specific folder. Yep. From Django URLs import path.
Okay. I didn't know if it was just dot import views or.
No, you want both.
Rango. One of these days I'll spell. It's asking for food because why wouldn't it? It's not like I'm on a call or anything.
We are getting closer and closer to the countdown.
The final countdown?
All right. So
Django function path.
So now you're going to add that URL patterns. Which again, I mean, you can look at the other URLs and it's like the exact same thing. The only thing that it's doing is when you do include, it's just loading in the URL patterns from that app. So yeah, you can, I mean, copy and pasting that totally.
And then delete.
Yeah, instead of views.postlist, you're going to do view.home and you're going to call like the name of it. The name of it, I would just call it like index or home. Is the name of the URL that will be used to identify the view. This can be the same as, call it home, because it's gonna be the same as that you refer to it as. So later on, if you have something on in your template that says go to the home page, like you want it to be Baki.home. I would say lowercase h, casing is important. There you go. And then views is going to be views.home. Yep, like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So now let's save this. And then let's make sure we got Control S, my guy. Go to my site, make sure that's saved as well. Oh, sorry. My site.urls. There you go. Do you want to save that as well?
What was?
Do you have autosave turned on?
I do. That's why I was.
Then you're good. Then you should be good. Wait, why is it yelling about include not existing?
Where is it yelling at?
That squiggle line is around include. Go scroll up. Oh, it's right there. No. Django.contrib, import admin, Django utils, import path. Scroll up in the post there. I'm trying to see if, it's Django.urls import include. I see it in the comments in the Python file. So yeah, from Django.urls import path, add a comma, and then add include, because you're gonna import include as well. And that's what that is telling you. It's saying that, hey, I don't know what include means, so I need you to define it. And you can define it. It's from Django.urls. You're in the right spot.
You're speaking. Okay.
In urls.py, you see import path.
Stop. urls.py.
You're right.
Import path. So here.
Mm-hmm. And then it has from Django.urls import path.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to add a comma, and you're going to add include.
Oh, so I didn't put include in this section, so therefore it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't know how to call include, because include isn't defined. Okay, so now in your command line, let's run python manage.py run server. Keep going, run server. Okay, so now when you now in your web browser, refresh. Again, it's saying, hey, this template doesn't exist. We haven't defined it yet. So now we get that issue that they were talking about. So back to the PyLadies demo. We're wrapping up like right on time too, which is perfect. Django view, they put Django views time to create there. So scroll down in the side menu. Whoa, what? Can we just get a basic template?
No. They cannot.
Django templates. Let's go to Django templates there.
I don't like that this doesn't lock into where you are.
Oh, it doesn't. In the previous chapter, we gave our template a list of posts. Okay, why go to the dynamic data in templates then? Because apparently, or go to Django URLs, because apparently that's where we talk about templates. And scroll down to like the very bottom. Very, very bottom. Okay, next.
I'm at the very, very bottom.
Next. Scroll all the way down to the very, very bottom. Next.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, okay. We're here. Scroll up. Yeah. That's what we want. Okay. Now, inside of the, just want to make sure they didn't call it like blog or something. Okay. So inside of the Baki folder, we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call it templates.
Inside the Baki folder, we're going to create a new folder with stuff.
Called templates.
Not templates.py, just templates.
Just templates. Yeah. And inside of that, we're going to create a new item called index.html. Or whatever you called it. I don't know if you called it home or index, but I believe it's index.html.
Call it home.
Well, yeah, just whatever the HTML path is for it. Cool. Sweet. All right. It's in views.py. Okay. Remove that Baki slash. Just remove that completely. All right. So now back in that home.html, we're going to just do our traditional HTML header. Just put HTML in there. It's going to be, yeah, HTML5 enter. Yeah, boom, perfect. Inside that body, let's just add some text so that we can see what's happening. Also, if you haven't played with Emmet is amazing. I like Emmet. Emmet's fun. It makes it really easy to build stuff quickly as long as that stuff is HTML. All right, so now let's serve the website again. Let's go to that, refresh. This is text. Boom. So you've now created a template that you can then, like, you could update that template and then it will update here and load new stuff. You can put your HTML here. And this is why you were talking about using like a template or something, like how you would use like an Astro template or something like that. Those are designed specifically to work like with Astro. There aren't, to my knowledge, there aren't a lot of templates that are just like straight up designed to work with like any of the Python web frameworks. So they're wanting you to bring a lot of that to the table. At this point, you could modify this HTML page to say whatever you want it to do. And we could run from there. So that's going to be your homework for the next week, is just like design this as you would a standard HTML page to be, don't make it pretty or anything. Just get the pieces, get the pieces from your wireframe in there that you want so that we can start building around it. And then
no CSS, just have the baseline wireframe.
Yeah, it can be the, H1, H2, H3, whatever, like your different headers. If you want to add some more pages, I think you can do it. Do you want to try to add another page just to walk through that step? Okay, let's add an about page. So, because I think you had an about page, right? Didn't you have an about page for Baki?
I do.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, my dog.
Oh, and my dog.
Yeah, or dog biography, either one. Either one. I feel like those two are the same thing, but I don't know.
They are. That's why these two are going to be inside of this eventually.
Okay. So yeah, let's just have like, I would just call it about. So you don't have to introduce a new pattern to my site because we don't have to create a new app. This is just going to live inside of that Baki app itself. So, yep, you're going to create a new view. We'll call it views.about.
Wait, do I create a view here?
Yeah. I mean, that's where you'll define it. No.
I do create the URLs.
Sorry. In that URL pattern, you have path, right? So let's create a new path. That path is going to be at about. So you're going to want to. Okay. Give it a name. And that empty path that you have there. Yeah, that works.
Well, I'll probably not name it about, but
you can name it about. Why not? Or biography or whatever you want to call it, but
we'll leave it as about for now.
So that first part there, the empty string at the very front, that's going to be the route that you want it to go to. So if you want it to go
I should put /about.
Yes. Now, I'm trying to remember. I always get this messed up. you either want it to have a trailing slash or not have a trailing slash. I'm pretty sure you don't want it to, but I could be wrong. It'll yell at you either way. All right, so that's all we need to do in terms of our URLs. So now we need to actually create that view.
So we go to views.
Yep. And just like creating the home request, we need to, or the home request function, we need to create an about request function.
So we define about request function in there.
Yep.
There we return that request, rendering the request that they asked for. Still want to see what's up top, and then rendering the HTML that we're going to be sending them to. So HTML. For some reason, this little squiggly bit, I don't quite know why this is here, but I know I have to add it.
You'll find out in the future.
Okay.
There will be some context things that we add. Okay, so there's one thing that's wrong in this.
Yes, I didn't name it, or I didn't make it a string.
Yep. Okay, so now there's no template defined for this. So now we need to make a template for it. And this is where we start getting into some fun stuff that we got like just enough time to jump into. Let's save you some time and energy. Let's create another template called base.html.
Sound of that. Then I'm going to do a HTML5.
Yep. So now inside of body, you're going to put double curly braces. Or sorry, there's going to be a curly brace and a percentage sign on both sides.
Both sides?
Just do another one. Sorry, like percent, like that. Yeah. Okay. And then in between that, you're going to do extends. Or sorry, no. Block content. Block space content. This is hard to explain when I'm just used to like writing it myself. Yep. And then below that, you're going to have another one of those called end block.
Same curly braces?
Yep.
And while I'm doing this, what does this do?
Percentages. So this is a part of the templating language that is Django templates. So the Django templating language is very similar to another templating language that I'm more familiar with called Jinja. And Jinja it's basically like this way that you can pass information in from one template to another or from your Python script to another. And that's actually what that context is. So let's do this where it says title document at the top. Let's change that to the double curly boys. Nope. Put another pair in there.
Oh, right next to it?
Nope, inside of them, inside of each other.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then inside of there, you're gonna put page underscore title. Okay. Now, let's go back to your about.html. You're going to do the curly boy percent sign.
4%?
On both, two of them there. And then inside of that, you're going to do extends base.html. And base.html is in quotes.
So extends is the function. Gotcha.
Yeah. In quotes. Double quotes. Double. Yeah. And you're gonna want like a space in between them. And you can add spaces across most of this, but like it's fine. Yep, perfect, like that. And then maybe in the front too, just to balance it out. All right, so then you're gonna do block content.
Inside or new?
Yeah. New. Sorry. Below that. So you're still gonna have that block content and then end block.
That's all going to be on the lines. New block.
Nope, end block.
End block. And it's inside block, not the letter end block, I'm assuming.
No, it's end. Like you were done with the block.
But I asked you because I definitely spelled it wrong on the last one.
Well, you go fix the other one.
Yeah.
Base.html. Yeah, end block. I'm glad you caught that because I missed it. Okay.
I will feed you. Calm down. Jesus Christ.
So now, inside of that end block, just put an H1. Like in between the two, in between the block and the end block, add a new line. And then put an H1 that says, this is the about page. Now in base.html, above that, I guess put an H1 above the block content. Inside a body.
Oh, directly above the block.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just put an H1 that says this is the base. Okay. So now back in your views, you remember how you had that empty curly boy there? Inside of that, you're gonna put page underscore title equal or page underscore title colon. That needs to be in quotes because it's a string. Yep. And then space in quotes about Baki. Do you see what we're doing? Do you have an idea of what we're doing?
Think.
Okay. Run the server, and while you're running the server, tell me what you're doing so that we can get you out of here to get to the next thing that you're doing. The server's not running currently.
No, it's not.
Usually, if there are certain changes that if you make, it will break. All right, so you're at that / you need to go to /about because that's the route that you're at. Okay. It's I see it in here now. It's yelling at you about this. It's saying, your pattern has a trail. Yeah, remove the trailing /.
Apparently, did not need the trailing /.
Yeah, like that. I think it actually you might even get rid of the initial one too. It might just be about because that's the path that you're at.
That's the name. Got it.
Okay, cool. It expected an end block. Did you... Oh, end block is one word. My mistake.
Oh.
I make that mistake. So I've made that mistake several times. End block is one word. Do it in base as well. Yeah. Okay, so now refresh that page. All right. So do you see what it's doing?
So wait, anything that has the block content is automatically put in. Hold on, what?
So your base.html is all of the basic HTML stuff that you have. And this is a pattern that I use. Like if you go to my website and you look at my templates, you'll see base.html, you'll see header.html, you'll see a bunch of these smaller HTML files. And those will be like inherited from each other. So base.html will just be my HTML5 and some stuff, and then it'll have like include header.html, include footer.html, and then you'll have this block content. So now every other page, like if you went to go to home.html, no, I mean in the VS Code window.
Okay.
And instead, get rid of all that HTML5 stuff.
Just delete all this?
Yep. Just copy what it says in about HTML. Paste it in home.html. And change about page to homepage. So now, instead of having to rewrite all of that stuff over and over and over again, now when you go to the homepage, what you should get is this is the homepage. Remember, it's just that it's not called home. It's just X. Yeah.
So I guess the question would be, how would you get rid of this? Because it's going to display the base page first, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, what you could do is just go to base.html and delete that. And maybe instead of actually having this is the base, you would have whatever your header is going to be and look like. So you could have a div with all of your header information.
Gotcha.
And at the bottom, you can have another div with all of your footer information. So that you only have to load that information when, like, you don't have to rewrite all of that stuff. So maybe that's a div that just says, you know, Baki's website or whatever. Yeah, div class, whatever. Modern HTML got weird all of a sudden. I'm just like, I don't. Now you just call it header. You have articles. You have sections.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And some things will style that specifically. Like for instance, let me find, because I know you got to go. Let me find the pico.css. Do you have a preference, Pico or Tailwind? Is there?
I don't have a preference. As long as I can use CSS, I'm happy.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Where's the quick start? Because I just want the usage from a CDN because I'm lazy. I'm gonna put this in the Zoom chat. Put that in your style. In the style header of base.html or in the header. So just header and then in link rel style sheet, that whole thing. Yeah. Head link rel style sheet, all that good stuff.
I assume I put it above the title, but below the meta.
Doesn't matter where. Just somewhere in there.
Really? I thought it was a load thing.
I mean, I think the difference is nanoseconds. Okay, so now refresh that page. Yeah, boom. All right, so there. So you've added some div stuff here.
Yeah, close up my div.
Oh, why did you close out body?
I didn't.
Yeah, there's like a
At least I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I was like, there's a slash body in there. So like now if you wanted to have different cards for like, if you go to, what is it?
Pico.
Home.html.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, in VS Code. Yeah. So add a div there and put add a div there. By the way, you can just press div enter. Div enter works because Emmet is amazing. You can do way more than that. I could break your brain on Emmet. We could do a Jay teaches better Emmet, and like Emmet is one of my favorite HTML tools. Actually, it is my favorite HTML tool. All right, so inside of that, go to that class. Actually, here, gonna blow your mind. Do class equals. No, it's not an article. Sorry. Class equals container. No, you put it inside of, it's HTML. So do HTML, like do the right HTML things. Inside of that, create 3 articles. And here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna do article *3 enter. No.
inside of.
Inside the div, like as the div nope, in the div contents.
Oh, in between.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Boom. Article. Do article dot. Nope.
Dot.
Well, no. I guess you don't need to give it a class. Do article. Asterisk 3. Enter.
Okay.
Yeah. Now just add like inside of that, like article 1, article 2, article 3.
This is terrifying.
Yeah. And I mean, you can eventually clean up the HTML there. So do you see how it formatted it inside of like the little cards? Like that's a thing that you can do.
Sick.
Yeah. And it just knows that it's like that because of those are article tags. They'll automatically do that. And then again, you can still
list.
You can still have
this
a CSS.
Is this Pico?
This is just Pico.
Okay.
Yeah, Pico does all this for you. And then yeah, like you can do things like you can make that div class do class, like keep the container class, but then also add grid next to it. No, inside of the yeah, inside of the thing. Space grid.
You don't have to. No, it is this.
Nope. Because it's it's all one class. You just add a space. Yeah.
I don't know why I thought you had to have a comma somewhere.
Yeah. Boom. So.
Sick.
So yeah, like if you wanted to do that, you can do that. Like that's how that works. And that'll be auto sizing grids to do that. So yeah, so now you have, you got to go. So you now have built a Django website in an hour and a half. You've built a Django website. You created the app. You've created some templates. You've used my personal favorite pattern for like websites, which it's common. It's not like I'm not doing wild stuff here. Like I use this for Jinja. I use this for every single templating language that I run with. I probably go overboard in how I use it because I'm like importing and then my imports are importing things. It's all over the place. So yeah, from here you should be able to start building your page. If you want to learn more about Pico, I will add Pico.
Just pulled it up.
PicoCSS.com, I believe. Yep.
The minimum CSS framework.
Yeah. Pico CSS is probably one of my modern favorites just because it gives you a lot out the box so that you don't have to do a ton of stuff. Boom, PicoCSS.com. That's it. That one right there. All right. You got some homework. Start building your website.
I do.
The next time I guess we'll have models or whatever, but
should I set up the WSL as well?
Yeah, I mean you can. We don't spend a lot of time in the terminal, so as long as we know how to, do migration, like data migration and stuff, which that's all managed.py. That's not particular to anything here.
And should I add a new linter? And if so, which linter?
In terms of extensions, make sure you have all the Python extensions. I would also make sure you have Prettier. Hit Control-Shift-X. There you go. All right, type in Python. I figured that was installed. Good. Okay. We're not going to install the Django ones because the Django ones I feel like they get buggy after a while. So we're just going to run with that. Install Prettier. Yep. Code formatter. That's a good one. Yep. That one's it right there. You don't need to do all the other ones.
Okay.
That's probably the only one that I would really focus on all that much. Everything else is kind of...
Really?
Prettier does most of what you're trying to do. You don't need a bunch of stuff. Python's going to do it for. I mean, you could install rough if you want, but then we got to talk about doing rough and having rough lint, and then rough will also try to change how some of your Django code looks, and we don't want it to do that. So again, it's like doing some of the other stuff just makes it more complicated than it really needs to be. So I think this is fine. Yeah. All right. Any questions?
Think so. If I do have questions, I'll just message you.
Absolutely. Always ping us. People hanging out with us, thank you so much for hanging out with us. That'll do it. But yeah, we built a Django app in an hour 40 from someone who's never built a Django app before. Call that a
Just knew the name.
And knows enough Python. You know what? 8 hours, maybe 10 hours of Python live streaming. Maybe more.
Python to break something.
You've done a lot in that Kaggle course that is not great. I got opinions.
Your disdain for Kaggle is hilarious to me.
My disdain for Kaggle is justified.
It's fair.
It's not even Kaggle that I'm upset with. It's that particular course.
That's fair.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Have a good one. Until next time.
You as well.